gross looking thing. This is like your starter for your fermented tea, for your kombucha. We're gonna start off by making our black tea concentrate. You can make the tea however you like, but I don't wanna make it into a huge pot and then wait for the whole huge pot to cool down. So I am gonna make a strong concentrate and let it steep and then pour the rest of the water in it. So you want about 3 tablespoons of loose leaf tea per gallon. I'm making 2 gallons, so I have 6 tablespoons of just loose leaf black tea. Here's my water. I'm gonna stir this just a bit, and you don't want to let it brew in here for longer than 15 minutes or else it will be bitter. So just let it steep for 15 minutes. This is just a French press that I use specifically for my kombucha. I don't do any coffee or anything in here. Now while that is steeping, these are my 2 gallons of kombucha that has been brewing. I write the dates on here. April 30th, and today is May 8th. So it's been right at like 8 days. And for me, that is just a really good, if you're looking for kombucha that is not too vinegar-y, 7 to 8 days, that's like the perfect amount where it's just delicious and it's not too, I just drank a shot of vinegar and it's disgusting. Most people who say that they don't like kombucha, it's because they're fermenting it for too long and it's gonna turn into vinegar, which is great, but it's disgusting if you ask me. So my whole family drinks it, my kids, I have the one as young as 6 and he loves it. They ask for it every single day. They get a little cup every day and they look forward to it every single morning. And they like it like this. Any more than that, they don't like it. I will, you know, but 8 days is your perfect. Now in the winter, I can let it go a little bit longer because it's cooler. But in the summer, especially here in Florida, anywhere it's hot, 8 days is like that perfect little sweet spot for it. Being fully fermented and having a balanced pH, but also not being too vinegar. That's the first ferment. Look how fizzy it is already. Can you hear it? This is now technically ready to drink, but I like to put it through a second ferment with fruit. So that's what I'm gonna do today. This batch is gonna go on to a second ferment, and then I'm currently brewing a fresh batch so that it will be ready in another 8 days. So it's just this constant rotation. So I always have kombucha available. Pouring them into these little half-gallon jars for the second ferment, and I'm gonna be putting fruit in here. The second ferment, it does still, again, it feeds on sugar and a little bit of the tea, right? But it needs a little bit to keep it going through the second ferment. It will get some in the fruit I'm gonna put in here, but I like to put like a little under a tablespoon to let it help get through that second ferment. The tea that's been brewing and is ready to go to a second ferment. So again, it's been in here for 8 days. I'm gonna pour it. I just poured in here to make it easier to pour into here. That fizz, and that's just from the first ferment. So this is one happy Mother SCOBY. Happy and healthy. Again, it's all about balance. Similar to your sourdough starter, except this is just a fermented liquid. Sounds like Sprite or a Coke. I love it. This is the part that grosses people out, and I don't know why. I mean, it's just a slimy. It's just something slimy. It ain't gonna hurt you. So each week or so that you brew a batch, it will grow a really thin new layer on the top. So you can see these are the older layers on the bottom. And each week it grows a really thin little layer that you could separate the layers. See, this was 1 week, and just each week it grows. So I will just leave them. I don't necessarily separate them until this starts to get really thick, and then I'll separate it. But in this case, you know, this one already separated, so I'm gonna take this one out. But just leave it there. And I will put any of these ones that once it starts getting too thick, I have a whole hotel. This is my SCOBY hotel. So I just put all my, once they start getting really thick, I just stick them all into here. Sizes in here, like this is a huge one. I mean, there's all kinds, and I just leave it at room temperature and just stick it in here, and this just stays forever and ever. For someone who's interested in making kombucha, all you do is give them a SCOBY and a little bit of this liquid, and then they can start their own kombucha journey. All right, so for my concentrate, this has been steeping for 15 minutes, and now it is ready to the next step. So I'm just gonna pour it in this huge pot. And this is why I like doing the concentrate, because if I had deep this whole pot would take like all day to cool down, because it's a live culture, and you don't want it to be over about 100, 110 degrees max, or it'll kill the microbes. So do it in a concentrate, and I'm gonna fill the rest of this with just room temperature water. Yeast feed on sugar. So this tea I am going to add, I'm making a sweet tea. So since again, I'm making 2 gallons, I need about, ends up being about like I'm gonna do like 2 1/4 cups, and then I'll taste it and see. You just want it to be really sweet, okay? Southern sweet tea. I'm just dissolving it in the hot first before I add the rest of the water. Now that I have my 2 gallons of brewed fresh tea, this is what I'm gonna pour back into my original jar with the SCOBY and 2 cups of the original liquid. This thing is big and heavy, so let's see if I don't make a mess. Now the SCOBY might float right to the top, just like mine did. I wrote the date on here, and this is what's gonna sit here underneath my in a dark area for another 8 days. Second ferment. This is what I just poured in from the other one, and I realized I am out of my pineapple chunks. These are just some frozen pineapple chunks, and I have a core from a pineapple that I did a while back that I just froze. So I love saving my pineapple cores for this second ferment. So I'm just gonna stick that in. Pineapple ginger is like my favorite combo. So to the core and the chunks, I'm gonna just ginger. I'm gonna just chop up some ginger and stick it in there as well. So I had barely enough for this gallon. So now I'm gonna just put the plastic lid on. Again, this is, if you use the metal lids, it will rust them, because this is acidic and it will rust it. Anyway, so this is just gonna sit here at room temperature. I'm gonna do it as tight as possible and let it sit here for about 2 days. I'm gonna burp it every now and then, so I'll just kind of, you know, once a day, I'll just come through and just let it, you know, burp. And then I will strain this out, and then it's ready to drink, stick it in the fridge, and it's delicious. But I gotta do my second gallon. Now I normally don't just use a juice to put for my second ferment, but I'm completely out, and I just now realized it. But this is just some pomegranate, straight pomegranate juice. There's nothing in it besides cold pressed pomegranate. So I'm gonna just pour some of this pomegranate juice and then the rest of this ginger for a pomegranate ginger second ferment. I think it's gonna be really good. Just tasting it. So this is for something that's not sweet and is tart. Like, I'm gonna add some more sugar so that it will have something to feed on for this second ferment. So I'm adding a tablespoon of sugar, and then I'll pour in some pomegranate juice. Then I'm just gonna cut up these little ginger pieces and add it as well. And there you have it, and they will sit for 2 days. Can you hear it? It's been 2 days. Can't really see it, but it's definitely fizzy and bubbly and making a hissing sound. Strain this out. I like to go ahead and squeeze the juice out of the pineapples just to get all that flavor in there. But you don't have to, you could just strain it if you want to. Now I'm just going to pour it into my flip-top bottles. This kombucha really is already very fizzy, but if you really want to kick up that fizz an extra notch, put it in these flip-top bottles, let it set at room temperature for like another day. Just burp it, honestly, this is fizzy enough for us. It'll continue to get some fizz and carbonation in the fridge in these bottles. So just from here, I stick them in the fridge. And they are good to go.